Audio is working, the camera is working, my face is now working. Oh, I gotta get to my train. Hello guys, welcome back to my channels. My name is Jay, and in this video I'd like to walk you through how I did the mappings and the capturing the building and convert it into the 3D object on the computers. Before I start, I'd like to mention some things. This video is not about explain the how to use the programs. This is how I did it for the videos a couple of weeks ago. I made it before, so I'd like to walk you through how I did it with the free program, except the Litchi. And I normally do the video with my script. I normally write down the script and then read it through it. But since it sounds like with doing the script, it's more like reading the books, and it takes a lot of time. And this is actually my third time to recording videos. And somehow I didn't press the recording button last night. Anyway, as you can see, that my English is not 100%. I'm not 100% native English speaker, so there might be a lot of language mistake. Please allow me. But I'll try to deliver the right informations. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. I'll answer and reply back as soon as possible. Yeah, that's the things, right? Yeah, that's the things before I started mentioning it. And the purpose of this video is that we all like to see the potentials of this combination with the Litchi, excuse me, and the AIR2S. What's wrong with my voice? As someone who doesn't have the time, I'd like to say the bottom line first. With this Litchi and AIR2S combination, you can't really do the mapping properly. It doesn't have the measurement options. It doesn't have some other fancy options that other programs provide. But if your purpose is just briefly show your client how it looks like in the construction area and the work site, it's fine. You can also do the capturing the buildings and convert into the object. It's fine, but the Litchi is not actually designed for the mappings. It's more like giving you the more options, which is not provided by the DJI app for Mini 2 or AIR2S. It's below the level. It's not below. Anyway, at different levels of the Mavic Pro series. So you will see what I mean. So the bottom line is, it's not professional way to achieve your goal for the mappings or the capturing the buildings, but you can do it, depends on your purpose. That's my bottom line. That's my purpose. Actually, my clients doesn't really pay me a lot to do exact details. They want to do they ask me to do a presentation purposes, a reporting purposes. On that purposes, it works 100% fine. Depends on your skills. Oh, I talk so fast. Anyway, the first thing first. Did I stop it? Oh no, I'm still recording. Right. The first thing, we need to download a couple of programs called Litchi app for your phone or your Android devices, like tabs or something else. Unfortunately, at the moment, the DJI doesn't support the iOS, so you can't really do it with the Apple's phone or iPads, which I love to use the iPads. And the first programs, Litchi app for your phone and virtual missions. Litchi virtual missions. There's a 2 version of this. It's one for the Chrome extensions. You can try it. I never tried actually, but I prefer to use the standalone version. So I put up all of the program links that's down below, so you can find the link below there. And 2.5.0 is actually the latest version for the virtual Litchi mission. So if you want to use the standalone versions, and then go and try to find these links here. And if you want to preview your missions, you might want to download the Google Earth Pro, which is a link provided as well. And the next one is Mushrooms. It's a company called Alice Visions. The Mushroom. This is actually the huge deals for someone who use the iOS devices, iOS OS. Mushroom doesn't support iOS. Only support like Windows or the Linux. By the way, so you can download Mushroom. And lastly, Blenders. Blenders provide the OS version, Mac OS version as well, and Linux and other versions. Steams, interesting. So all of these programs you might need to download it and install it before you start your missions. And once you download it, open the standalone version of the Litchi mission. So I already opened up right here, and of course you need to have the account first and register it. And once you register it, open the missions, you will see the old world maps on the screen. So go to the place you want to do the mission, your missions, and zoom in with your middle scroll wheels and press the mouse left button. It will start to produce the waypoints, like point 2, point 3, but I'm gonna delete the point 3, point 2. So once you produce the first missions, first waypoint, just change the altitude, speed, curves, headings. There's a couple of options. So you can adjust the heading like this, and you can change the altitude right over here. And before that, we need to set up the global settings. So go to the settings and set up the units. I set up the matrix, heading mode, customs, and then finish the action, return to home, land. I think no one want to do the length. Back to the number 1. Oh, this is a good option. Anyway, the return to homes, pass mode, the straight line, curve, turns. So if you want to do like a mapping, so like a grid mappings, I highly recommend the straight line, because I don't want to miss any space doing with the curve lines. But if you're capturing if you're doing like orbit missions, you definitely want to do the curve turns. You want to choose the curve turn for the orbit mission. So for this time, the straight lines and cruising speed, let's say 10 first. I will explain it a little bit later. Let's say 10. You can type in a 10. I'm sorry, I'm just checking the recordings. So last night I didn't I didn't check out the phone, so videos didn't work last night anyway. Max flight speed 15, photo capture interval 1.5. So I'd like to mention one thing about the photo capturing intervals. Due to the DJI AIR2S only support the UHS-1. It doesn't support the UHS second version, so the maximum writing speed is 120. But the one I use is the maximum is the right 90. I think the writing speed is maximum 90. So if you go below the 1.5, it's not long enough to save your photos. So I recommended it photo intervals at least 1.5, but I normally set up to the 2.0s. Depends on your flight speed and it depends on your altitude. Sometimes 2.0 is a lot of the photos, but the more details, more photo, more detail you get. But of course, more processing time. A lot of the processing time. Anyway, default curve size 75 and the gimbal pitch mode interpolate means I'm gonna set up in each waypoint. So show the discover mission, check it. Online evaluation, check it. Now go to the first waypoint and set up the first altitude. Let's say we set up the hundreds. Speed will follow the global settings right up here, 10 kilo per hour, so we don't have to touch it. Headings. If you want to do a grid, you need to adjust the headings a little bit. So when you turn these sliders, it will turn around the headings. So if in this case, I wanna set up 30 here, right up here. So basically I'm gonna capture this part only. So I wanna make it a square like this. So I'm gonna heading like a 30s, and first time I'm gonna set up my gimbal pitch -90. Then it will look at the ground from the sky. Let me pull it out a little bit. So adjusting the gimbal pitch, this is at 90. You're looking at the ground, and this is -60, 45, and zeros. So if the gimbal is to look at the straight, that means the zeros. And for the first missions, I set up to the -90 like this. I'm gonna capture like a grid like this. And once you finish the setups, if you make the second waypoint, it will follow most of the settings from the waypoint 1, except gimbal pitch. You need to set up the gimbal pitch again because you choose to do that individually on the global settings here, interpolate. So -90, in case I just copy and make it like a grid first. It's not perfect, but the education purpose, it's not educations. It's demonstration purpose. Right over here, and 3s, paste it. Next one, -90, next one, -90, next one, -90. There you go, -90. So last one, -90. And then once you're done it, you might want to make a grid as well, like this. The reason why we need to do the grid because there is somehow you're gonna miss this. You're gonna miss some area if you did it only like a one way. So I'm gonna change to -90. Next one, -90s. -90, -90, 90, 90, 90, 90. That's the last one. So once you've done it, it will go back to the where you started. Maybe that's right over here, but I'll just leave it like this. Let's check out everything. So once you've done it, depends on the flight speed. you can download the one batteries, but if you look at the center of the top of the centers of screens, total length of the travel time is almost 6 kilos, and it takes 47 minutes. So we don't want to do it. So for now, it depends on your situations. For now, I'm gonna change the settings, and let me increase the 15. There you go. When I increase the speed, it will reduce the time. Possibly make it within 30 minutes, but the battery lasts almost like 25 minutes, give and take. So I don't want to go over the 25 missions. It's not a good idea. Very important things. So you can do this mission with the 2 batteries, but the problem is the Litchi app on the phone, it doesn't show where you were at exactly. So you have to memorize with your own eyes. So you're gonna start from there with the next batteries. Very important. So this is some things I'd like to mention, and at the last part of the videos, I want to see it. And not I want to see it. I love to see the next updated version. So I love to see. It will be my pleasure to see on the screens where my drone is exactly at. Anyways, once you've done it, you probably want to save it with a different name. So maybe a drone test mission 01. There you go. So I save it. So what if you're gonna open, you're gonna see a lot of the mission. I already made it. So test drones, test mission right over here. So I'm gonna load it again. It will be exactly where it is. So before I move to the next part, I'd like to mention something. So depends on your headings, depends on your drone positions, your heading positions. The capturing ratio is different. So if you fly the drone like this, your drone gonna capture like this way, these directions. You know what I mean? These directions. But if you turn the heading, it's like this. Can you see this? So somehow you can change the gimbals like this. It will capture like this way, not this way. So normally capturing this way, but somehow if you set up the different angle, it will capture this way. So it's pretty important. That's why I set up the heading a little bit this way, because I want to make sure that I want to capture every space of the missions for my missions. So you can set up and fly sideways and capturing like this, or you can set up like this and fly this way and capturing like this. It really depends on your taste, your purpose, but the reason why it's not, is it called a square? It's not square, it's a rectangle. So we need to double capture it with the grid. That's why I recommended doing the grid, because one time it capturing first like this way, and next time I'm capturing this way as well. Make sure we're not gonna miss any part of the space. Where are we? Okay, so once you've done it, go to the missions. If you go to the mission bottom, second bottoms, there's an export as a CSV. Once you click it, it will automatically link to the Google Earth. So open the Google Earth. So drop down the second menus, the virtual missions. Click the virtual missions. Once you double click it, oh, let me show the one thing, this one. So once you go to there, you will see your mission in 3 dimensionals. I'm looking at the little strange things right over here. So why is it curves right over here? So go to the my 11 waypoint 11s. The reason why it's a curve because the curves was the setup as curves. So I delete the curves. I changed the curve to zeros. So you can see that I changed the curves and go to the export again, and you will see here it's exactly vertical turns right over here. This is interesting. Is it gonna turn like a 100% the verticals? Let me set up the curve right over here. Oh, I want to show the demonstration for the curves. So go to the Google Earth. So your drone fly from the waypoint 1 to the waypoint 2. At the waypoint 2, you will see this is a vertical. 100%. Is it vertical? Is it called vertical? There's no curves at the waypoint 2. At the waypoint 3, there's a curve. Let me fly it. If you drop down to the missions, test mission 01s, we'll see the little video camera icons right over here. If we double click it, it will show the previews. So, and move to summit, get right over here. We're slowly flying to waypoint 2. The fly goes like this and straight up, and at the waypoint 3 it will smoothly curves, turn the drones smoothly. There you go. We are approaching the waypoint 3 and smoothly curves. Because of it drone turns smoothly, there's a possibility you might gonna miss out this little space. So I highly recommend when you do the mappings, set up all the corner with the 0 curves. Then we're not gonna miss any space on the grounds. Anyway, this is how I do for the mapping, for the capturing. For the post-processing, it will be the same. So I'm gonna show the how did I capture the small tower. So I'm gonna demonstrate the post-processing with the tower. So but the processing process is almost identical. So I'm gonna load up another mission for the small tower. There you go, Union missions. Oh, look at this. So I was thinking, how do I capture? Oh, this is very important. So I'd like to mention this one thing. I'll mention it very soon, in a minute. So I was thinking, how do I position the waypoint to capture the constantly flying goes up to the top of the building? Let me explain this. So to capture the buildings like this, if you want to capture the surface like a straight surface, you might gonna just need to fly like this way. It's exactly the same as it is when during the ground mappings. But if you want to do like all the capturings, what I did was from the ground, every half of the circle I increased the 10 meters the altitude. So when the drone goes to like half circles, I increased the 10 altitude. So it gradually increase the 10 meters while it turning to the half circles. The another half circle gradually increasing the altitude 10 meters until the top of the tower. So I researched the height of the tower on the internet. It shows 105 meters. So until the 105 meters, I did exactly the same things over and over and over. So it's basically, it doesn't show the 3D dimensions. Does it show the 3D dimensions? No, it doesn't show the 3D dimensions. So I basically stack up the waypoints. So if you take a look at my first, there's no first waypoints. Where is it? There you go. Start from the 30 meters altitude, goes to the half of circles. Sorry, the screen is just blacked out, maybe battery out. But I think the camera is still working. I'm too worried to just whether it's if that's not working like last night. Anyway, after half circles, it increased the altitude. 35, 45. First changing 5 meters, but the second changing 10 meters. 55. 75, 85, 95, until the 120. I want to make sure that everything captures, even though the tower is lower than 120. So until the 120, I gradually increased the altitude. And the end of the flying, I flew up my drones and manually I capture the top of the buildings with the -90 degree of the gimbal pitch. So captures like this, and second photo like this, and again the other angles, another angles. Let's capture 3 photos. I'll show the photo later. All right, let's go and have a look at the global settings, and leave the units, metrics, heading mode, customs. Finish the actions, return to on the path mode, the curves. Of course, we are doing the OV missions right over here. And the cruising speed, 10 kilo per hour. And the max flight speed is 15s. And the photo capture interval 2.0s for this specific project. And the gimbal page disabled. We don't need to touch the gimbal able for this increasing the altitude, because you might wanna leave the gimbal page where it was. Start from the end at the same position. Then it will capture like this. If you go with the focused point of interest mode, it will looking at the same point of interest. So if you, even though you fly and increase the altitude a little bit higher, the gimbal still keep looking at the point of interest, first point of interest, unless you're gonna make multiple point of interest, which is really hard way. I'm not gonna do it. So I leave it the disabled and just only change the altitude and the heading mode while I'm flying. That's how I did it and how I figured it out, and I tried it before. Let me show you the videos before. Oops. Very gentle, very manners. So if you look at the videos, I set up the point of interest, the very ground part of this building. I thought that's the only that can fix my gimbal page, but yes, it's fixed the gimbal page. Look at, as you can see, the gimbal looking at the same positions over and over, even though they increase the altitude. So I found that there's something different, something problems there. Is I take it drone back and start flying. That was my first attempts. Yes. So when you've done everything, you might want to save it. I saved already. So go to the Google Earth and then check out your flight missions for your previews. You can check out, do it. In this case, let me show you one thing. So even though that's the 2D mappings, while I'm still waiting. 2D, since it's only the 2D maps, so we can't really see the correct fillings of the field, but you can briefly see where your drone gonna fly on the map. So I I set up the waypoint to make sure that nothing hit the next buildings. So basically what I did was I stack up the mission waypoint. I stack up the waypoint at the same positions, but the only difference is the altitude. When it flies, just change the altitude gradually, increase the altitude, as you can see, until the top of the buildings, and then at the end of the mission, I manually fly the drones. I capture the top of the building. So with the -90, I capture like this and this. I didn't want to miss the any space, so I captured it 3 times in different angle. Oops. So once you're done to check out every flight's missions, so you think it is okay, and go to the field. I didn't want to save it, and start flying. So I want to explain these things. So once you attach your device to the controllers, turn on your controllers and turn on your drones, and make sure don't plug in your cable yet. Come on, turn on. Yeah, cry for papa. Okay, give it a couple of seconds to connect each other first. So I give it like 10 seconds. And after 10 seconds, okay. Then you might want to plug. Hold on, let me capture the screen as well. This one's screen, start screen. There you go. And if you plug into cables, your device will ask you which program you want to go with. So in this case, I'm going to reach, and just once. And once you guys are on the litch, and press the left-hand corner top of the button, which is called FPV, and second waypoint missions. Once you click that, it will show the couple of the menus on the left-hand side. At the top of it, it's click the folder that will show the list of the mission you pre-made, and select the first mission, load up, and you'll see exactly the same missions as on the map. One thing I'd like to remind you here is, yeah, I'm gonna cover it. Anyway, one thing I'd like to remind you is to edit your mission on the phone, press any empty space, not on the waypoint, press the empty space, and it will show you whether you're gonna unlock the mission. So unlock the missions. What I found on this situation is I can't really drag to the waypoint location. So maybe the screens are too small, or it's really hard to do it on the apps. So I highly recommend you bring your laptop if you think there is a chance to edit your mission at the field. So I highly recommend to bring the laptop just in case. I do it, and go to the settings. First start with the global settings. I don't have to change anything. I just make sure that I set up all of the menus correctly. And the next one, waypoint setting. At this point, I always do the double checkings, but for these missions, I only need to check the altitude. So altitude 3. Increasing slightly until the top of the building. So once I've done it, you can press the small triangle button on your left-hand side, or you can fly the drone into the air first, which I do it for the safety reasons. Then I can press I can start doing the missions. So I'm not gonna do it now. So turn off. And turn off. and stop the recordings. Okay, I lost the signals, of course. So make sure you don't plug in when you start it. Give a couple of seconds to connect each other, link each other, and plug in your cables. Before that, you have to kill the DJI apps on the setting menus. You have to kill even the background runnings is not acceptable. So according to the Litchi, not me. So you gotta kill the DJI apps, even for the background. So you're not gonna go through the settings and then kill the DJI the app. Then you can plug into the cable and then start with the Litchi. Yeah. How do I turn off the phones? Okay, there you go. Everything you capture, finish the capture and then come back to your desk and check out the photos. The photo size is normally 4,000 by 3,000. If you look at let me make sure that I'm recording now. You see, this is the reason why I take it up to not reason why. I thought that's the leg extension is the issues, but when you turn quickly, it will show that your drone legs will be in your frame. Just keep it in mind. Anyway, yeah. So check out all the photos you can see. So let me briefly show those. So my orbitings, capturings every 2 seconds, and it's about 30 meters away from the tower, and flying speed 10 kilo per hour, and every 2 seconds I capture it. So it looks like really more than enough. The data is more than enough, but I'll explain the end of the videos why I did it. And if you take a look at this ones, I captured this part and different angles. Yeah, I captured it again. So make sure I capture all the different angles. And once you finish checking the photos, you can reduce the size. You definitely want to reduce the size if you're doing for your own hobby, because it's too big for the processing. So I normally, for the checking purposes, I normally reduce the size like 500 pixels from the 4,000 pixels. But when I do for my client, 2,000 pixel it's a sweet spot. I'm never gonna use the 4,000 pixels like the original size of it, but this one, I did it for you guys anyway. So select it and open up the mushrooms, and you can drag and drop right over here, left hand corner. You can drag and drop, and it will show you how many photos you added. 561 photos, and press the itch photos. You can check out the photos right over. You can zoom out, zoom in with the mouse wheels. So this one will show the 3D objects right over here. So if you take a look at the left hand side and down below a little bit, so it has almost 12 nodes. So there's a two-way you can process these photogrammetry things anyway, the converting things. If you press the start button in the center of the top of the screen, it will automatically doing the whole process at one time for you. But if you want to do them manually, you can select the first node. You can adjust a little bit of the options here. This is advanced options. So you can see the basic options right over here. You can adjust a little bit, and you can click the advanced area. You can see the more options you can change it. Before you start it, either way, before you start it, I recommend you save your project first. And then you can process it. And I already process it. So once you're done with the processings, it will have a little different of things you can see. So this one, I manually process the up to depth map filter. Once you're done with the depth map filter, you will see this kind of things a lot. So you can, if you take a look at zoom out a little bit, let me show you. Zoom out a little bit. You can see the position of the camera right up here. So there is a doubled waypoint missions. I proceeded 2 times maybe. I don't know. So location, you can check out the location of the cameras, and of course I capture the top of the buildings. You can reduce it, size it, disappear it, and then camera positions, and you can increase it, decrease it to check out whether it's gonna be the correct. But since you capture the everything, you can see there is a lot of details right around the buildings. So you don't want to render the somethings too far. You can select the part only you want to render it on doing the mesh node. So I will show you what it means. I already the computing the mesh node. So once you selected the meshing node, you can see there is a custom bounding boxes options right up here. You can click it. You can adjust the space you want to blend it. So there is I don't want to touch it because if I touch it, I need to render it again. So if you zoom out, there is 2 options you can change the values. So this small triangle means like moving the these bounding boxes, and this cube handles, it will change the size, XYZ size of the bounding boxes. So once you done with the adjusting the bounding boxes, and the process next node. And once you're done with texturings, the texturing layer looks like, let me hide it, this. Oh my god, I talked too much. There you go. Look at this beautiful texturings. I actually got really surprised how free program produce this detailed object from my general hand, from my general skills. Look at this top of the buildings. Well, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, 100% perfect. We need to have a more photo. I mean, the more clear photo, like a close-up photo to express give the more detail of the top surface. But I think for this, for my purpose, this is already perfect, more than enough. As you can see, let me show you right up here. As you can see, this one doesn't have enough detail to process it, maybe. So this thing you can fix in the Blender. So Blender is more like the 3D Max or the Maya or the Cinema 4D. So it's dealing with it's like a Photoshop for the 3D object, like editing for 3D objects. So the only thing I do I don't want to fix it this one because my clients doesn't ask it this one. So they normally gonna ask like this view, and they just want to have a look at this view, and they use this image to report their project to the seniors, I guess. So the only thing I like to do on the blenders, I want to get rid of this like a cloudy or the unnecessary the polygons around the tower. So I'm going to probably load up the while I'm loading up the we are dealing up the 100 gigabytes. Oh, right. The folders, when you click the texture node, go all the way down, and you can see the folder pathway. So select all, copy it, and paste it into the address bar here, and enter. You can see the objects here. It's loading up the 3D object from the pre-made from the mushrooms. I need to drink the water. Is the audio working? Yeah, it's working. It takes a little bit long time because I used the original photo size, and the thing is, we are dealing with the 100 GB size of the object file. Is it including texture file as well? I don't think it's including texture file. Anyway, it takes a little bit of time. While I'm loading it, I'd like to mention a couple of things you guys need to focus when you guys need to be a little bit careful when you doing this mapping or the capturing things. So important thing is, especially during this capturing the tower building 3-dimensional or the mappings, capturing constantly capture the photos constantly. It's very important. What I mean by that is, if you capture like this, and sometimes this, or sometimes like this, so constantly overlapping is at least more than 50% is important. So constantly capture, then you're not gonna waste up your time. You're not gonna waste up the space, or you're not gonna, miss any space. Then you need to go back to the capture it again. So constantly capturing means you need to, when you making the mission plan, always double checking the distance of each waypoint, and do the previews on the Google Earth, and try to cover all of the surface, of course. And if it's possible, for the more details for the mappings, -90, capturing -90, -45, and -60 if it's possible, with a different altitude. What I mean by that is capturing -90 first, and a little bit reduce the altitude with the -45, and capture this way, and this way, and this way. That's a lot of work, I know that. And with a little bit lower, because it will capture the more of the straight the surface, and -60, and capturing a little bit this. So I normally, what I do is, when I go to the work site with the first batteries, I fly my drone and test out if there's any object higher than my mission. So for example, for the trees, and I set up to 35 altitude, and it reaches 50 meters, it will definitely hit my drones. So with the first batteries, I check out the altitude, and whether it's the electronic cables or the higher trees than my altitude, and how far from the buildings. I'll check out with my first batteries. That's how I do it, and I always check the mission again before you start it. Of course, before you start the button, always check out the mission settings, altitude, and gimbal pitch. Double check. And of course, we are dealing with the photos, so I don't think it's a good idea to use the ND filters. I don't want to block any things except when I do the videos. When I do the photo, I don't want to use the ND filters or the CPL filters. So just remindings, and you don't want to touch anything while it's doing the missions. You don't want to touch anything. You already know that you can't control your drones while it doing the missions, but you don't want to touch the cable if your device is very old. So if your device is very old, once you touch it and somehow it gives you the false signal to the program, then it will stop the missions. So you don't want to touch anything. But it was very cold outside. I wear the gloves, but the thing is I didn't wear the right hand side of the gloves because I was ready to stop the mission when the something happens, like the bird attacking. So I need to stop it, and I immediately need to get the control back and then control the fly away from the bird. So be ready for accident. That's another thing that I like to remind you. And no control during the mission. Yes, I already told that. And I think that's it. Still loadings. I love it. And mushrooms. There is one more free program called the Web ODMs I'd like to try in the futures. I will update the videos once I tried it. I heard that works just fine. And show how I did it first. I mentioned a few tips. I mentioned everything, I think. Oh yeah, the maximum altitude, I'd like to mention this one. So maximum altitude, I think the Litchi follows the DJI app settings. So if you set up to the maximum altitude 150 meters from the ground, the Litchi will follow the maximum altitude. So it happened to me. So I don't know about you, but it happened to me. I like to mention it. So, and for the signal, anything blocked or interfere the signals, it's hard to get the signals. I think it's only happening in the South Korea because the restrictions. What else I need to point out? Anyway. Okay, let's go back to the screen. I think it's almost ready to show the rest of them. So once you finish the loading up your object, it will be most likely the upside down. So you might want to turn off. Okay, let me explain a little bit of the layout here. The down part here is the animation part. You might want to reduce the size, which you're not going to use it now. So left hand side, there's a toolbar here, and right above the toolbar, there is just a couple of modes. You can change it, but you have to select your object first, and then change to the edit mode. You can edit your mesh. You can change to the scallop mode. You can reduce or increase the mesh with this different kinds of tools. And the right hand side, top of it, there's a small little circles here. Let me change back to the object mode, reduce a little bit, and depends on these circles. You can see the wireframes and the meshes, and third one is with your textures, and the last one is Blender rendering with the Blender lights. You can see the lights here. So we can back to the meshes, and there's a layer panels, and below the layer panels here is a property panel. So you can change the value on the panel, like light. Where is the light? Select the light. And You can change to the point light, sunlight, and spotlight, and area light. I'll just leave it in the sunlight for now. You can change the strength of the here and the strength of the shadows. And the first thing you might want to do, okay, the only thing I want to do here is, and I want to erase the something I don't want to see in my result. So that's the only thing I do on the Blender, because still I know not much about the Blender now, but on my purposes, I think that's the only thing I want to do on the Blender to get rid of the something unnecessary parts. So select the mesh. There's a couple of different ways you can change your orient, but in this case, I was just gonna do the rotations. I might gonna turn off to the cube, and there you go. I'm change the X. Is it the X? On the right hand side and the top of it, right below the four circle icons, there's a hand icon. You can press it with the left hand side of your mouse. You can move the scene and zoom out, zoom in, and you can move it with the scroll. You can change the rotations like this. But I want to see whether it's just correctly rotated it. Okay, is it? Right, okay. There you go. So I can zoom out a little bit. Oh, the first thing is first, let's clean that up some meshes. So I'll set up here and then select my layer object and change into the edit mode. And press the B on the keyboard. Press the B on the keyboard and select what you wanna delete it. So, and press the X, which one you're gonna delete it. In this case, I wanna go with the first one. It will delete like this. So the reason why it's still remaining is because it's just three-dimensional. So you need to select everything, like a backside of it. So press the B. It's selected. If you press the one more time, B, you can add up the selectings. And the B again. And the B again. Select. And the B again. And select. And the B again. There you go. Okay, I didn't press the B again, so I'm gonna start from the beginning again. So select the B, select, and press the B again, and select. And to clean that up, press the X, and choose which part you're gonna delete it. So first one, and select the B. And then select the B. I might speed up a little bit for you. Press the first one, and press the B, and press the B, and press B, press B, and press B. Select the X, first menus, and select the B, and select the B, and press the mouse wheel button and move around. And select the B and change the angle and select the B and X, clean that up, B, X, clean that up, move around. Okay, let's say, excuse me, let's say we clean that up now. I'm not gonna do a lot of more details. Thing should be okay. Change the object mode and zoom out. So at this point, I'm probably gonna save it, and I can deliver to my clients. But I wanna show you the the light renderings on the blenders. So you can select the last circle icon, which is show the lights. So select the lights and move around. So it should be somewhere around here because the light goes start from here to this way. So and change the you see the shadow part is changing now, and reduce the light a little bit. So strength probably 500, half of it. It's still too bright. Oh, the 50. So maybe the 25. Still bright. It was 35. 15 now. Still a bit bright. And 7. I think 7 is reasonably okay. Maybe it goes down a little bit more, like a 5. I think that's 5 is for this case. So if you move around, you will see that the shadow direction is changing now. Let's have a look the original light. So if you zoom out, the lights goes like this way. So the sunlight hit this part and the shadows appear on the back side of this part. So 45 degrees somehow. Something like 45 degrees. So change to like this way or this way, a little bit. Yeah, this way. A little bit, make it longer. So I'm gonna reduce the shadows 0.5, maybe 0.1. Maybe get rid of the shadows. It's too strong now. And something fade a little bit. Maybe reduce the fade and distributions. So reduce the distribution a little bit. And constant shadow now. Maybe the light is still too strong. The shadow a little bit. Count. You can tweak the each properties until you get happy, and then I'm probably gonna stop right over here. So you can deliver this image if you're happy with that, but I normally the only image they wanted is a natural light. So this is the my final light. I'm happy with that, and I think that my clients will happy with that as well for the reporting purpose. Before I done with this, I want to point out one thing. So you can change to like a scallop mode, which means you can edit your meshes. But even if you have the magic hands, you don't want to touch the meshes if you're not professionals. I rather take more photos to fill out this missing part. But if you're willing to, you can do it. But I don't really recommend it. So you can fill it with the filling tool. You can drag it. Depends on the other strengths. It will go like this. You can fill it out, fill it out, fill it out, fill it out. So if you are professionals about the meshes or 3D object, you can try it. But since I don't have the magic hands, so I don't really do it. And my clients is kind of happy with the because the only view they want to see is a top view. It's a 45-degree view, so it doesn't really bother me. But if you're willing to do it, you can do it with a couple of different tools. You can try out. It's kind of funny. It's kind of exciting if you're trying different kind of tools, filling out, and this part as well. Oops. Oops. See, this is why I don't really touch it. Filling out. Actually, it's working. Is it working? hold on, let me see with the different views. I don't think it's working. Anyway, you can fill it out like this. Even if you fill it out like 100%, trying to be 100%, but it's never gonna be like a natural way to, natural way to do it. So you fill it out, and your surface is not smooth enough, so you can flatten or the smooth with the different strengths. You can try out. So you might want a little bit of this smooth out your surface, because it will show a little bit difference when you do when you show with the textures. You see the little differences right up here. So maybe I didn't do it the right way. So right up here, or the different parts, maybe somewhere around here. Try it. I just want to show you the difference with the doing it and not doing it. So you see the difference. You can a little bit smooth out the surface right over here, but a little bit rough textures you can see between these two. So it's up to you. Can do it, up to you, but I don't do it because they don't pay me that much. Anyway, right, okay, so we got rid of the something we don't want to see it. So I'm really happy with my result. I'm probably just gonna deliver it right this way. All right, I think that's it. All right, there you have it, guys. I think it was, I don't know, it was good enough to explain deliver the right information or not, but that's the things that so far I figured out. So I will update it if I can find out there's something new and for the next videos. And I hope you guys will pick up something from these videos. Any question you guys have it, leave the down below. I will reply back to it as soon as possible. And all right, I'm working on some equations. So it depends on the altitude, what size the drone can capture and it depends on the flight speed or what, you're gonna see the problem is of they're using the litch. So I'm working on the calculations, but I'm not sure whether I can do it, but I will update it in the next video once I find it out. Anyway, I think that's it. See you guys in the next videos. Peace.